Let's see. Yeah, it's some days aren't bad, some days are really bad. It also seems to coincide with how busy I am. Like,
Yeah.
the busier I am, the more I forget about it.
Yeah, that's for me. The weekends are more hard.
Yep.
For sure. But I feel so much better that I think I got over the hump of just the drive for,
Yeah.
where before you just feel so like it's such a lost cause that you're like, whatever. We'll see if the temperature change causes me any issues.
Is it changing?
Because, just the heat and constant sweating, I think probably aided in my journey. But like Tristan, who obviously has no weight to lose, has lost 8 pounds since football started. So in 5 weeks, he's lost 8 pounds just because of the heat.
Huh.
So we'll see. I mean, he's also, playing football and doing football practice for 2 hours, which is more than what I do. So we'll see. Samantha. Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar, Samantha, Ramiro.
Ramiro.
First from Puerto Rico.
I forgot to get my shirt out of the mailbox.
Oh, I was gonna wear that shirt too, but I was like,
What's in the mailbox?
Oh, I ordered a funny T-shirt and I forgot about it. It got delivered last week and I totally forgot about it.
I saw a shirt yesterday that I thought would be a good one for you. It was a grunt style shirt, but
funny.
it was that can't remember what that series of kids stuff was called, but anyway, it said Little Miss WTF on it.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Chris Williams is on. Mina, Gabriel, Josh Pierce.
good morning, Josh and Gabriel.
Good morning, Gabriel.
Oscar.
Oh, the congratulations with the new member of the family. I have it with me here today. So excited.
What's the new member of the family?
You already forgot? Like PNS is a new member of the family.
I know.
Please. But there is currently a lot of it that isn't. Gabriel, thanks for not bringing out a bead maker. You know me. It won't happen.
Yes.
Hey, it works.
Good morning. Yay, we're both on screen.
Am I frozen or am I good?
Nope,
No, you're good over here.
So funny. You're totally fine, but then me, I'm literally looking up. and it's frozen on my
Oh,
screen.
weird.
So it looks really weird. I'll have to take a picture and send it to you later.
That's funny.
But-
No, you look totally normal to us.
Well, that's good that there is a normal for me. But
Well,
oh,
good morning.
man.
How's everyone doing? We hope you had a great weekend. And I know here in Boise and hopefully other places, the weather has taken a turn, which is thank goodness, because it could not have happened sooner. On Wednesday last week, it was 104, and the next day it was 84.
Wow.
So we
that's pretty much what happened here.
Yeah. So thank goodness, though.
I don't know if it's been that
My
drastic.
animals are both here to say good morning and needing things. So when you talk about your week, I'm going to get up and let the dog out. But anyway, so we had a lot happen last week, right? It was a really big week for PNS. Super exciting. We are all still a little bit tired and, still on that high though. And so we're super excited about that. So do we have anything else to talk about before we get to that? What do we got?
Last week we had a great time, not with just the release of our new product, but also Rainey and I had a really good and successful headlight restoration class at Uber Detail in Southern California. It was really cool. We had 10 detailers and I think a couple of them were enthusiasts or side hustle guys is what they were calling themselves. And we did headlights on 5 cars and coated them with Lucid, and it was a great time. We had, everyone there just impressed Rainey and I. It was a lot of fun teaching them tips and tricks on how to get things done fast and get great results. And simultaneously, while that was happening, you and Bob and Dave and the TRC crew were releasing our new product. There you go. It's absolutely beautiful.
Absolute. It's finally out, right?
Yeah.
A day that we weren't sure if it was going to come or when it was going to come. It kind of snuck up on us. We kept thinking, is it going to be this month? Is it going to be this month? And then it was just all of a sudden like go time, right?
Yeah.
That was exciting. So yes. So on Thursday, we released Absolute, our new rinseless wash at the Rag Company. It has been a very busy weekend. All of the videos, if you guys haven't seen them, you've got to go check them out. There's a couple on our page on PNS on YouTube, and then there's a couple on the Rag Company too. All of them are very good. All of them have different little snippets of information. And then a side note, we had a really good one the other night that I need to share again. The team was on with Jamie the Cleaner on his podcast on YouTube. And you guys have got to go check that out because I think that's probably the most complete story time is all on that podcast. And it was just really, really good. So we had Bob and Dave kind of, discussing the whole history of it. And it's always fun to hear from Dave and how he made it and his side of the story is always really fun. And then Rennie and I were on there too to kind of answer some, product and use questions and stuff, but it was a really good podcast. So there's a lot of good information out there about it. If you guys have not heard about it yet, but it is essentially a rinseless wash and Dave created it ground up. The ingredients in it are not in any of the other rinseless on the market. It's all kind of new technology. And as far as like where he sourced or what ingredients he sourced, that part of this story is kind of interesting on Jamie's podcast. So definitely go check that out. But it's such a great product, and our team has known, for months and months and months that we had this just amazing, right? And so we're so excited that we can finally share it and talk about it.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, not as long as the Express Sidekick. That was
right.
That was definitely a whole different journey there, and how we brought that to life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of funny. We all have different stories with Absolute. We all played different roles at different times to bring it out. And it was fun going back and listening to the podcast you guys were on. I was on my way out with my wife on Friday night, so I didn't get a chance to watch it all live without making her mad. But I checked it all out later. And yeah, everyone has these different aspects to it. It's fun to hear from Dave and the chemistry behind it, and how Bob was saying, you know, they didn't really understand a rinseless as much because they come from the car wash side. They understand soap.
Yeah.
And I kind of remember back when we were telling Bob and Dave, like, man, a couple years ago that we needed a rinseless.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, but we didn't really understand it. But when we finally, I don't know how you want to call this, when we forced the issue, we literally stole Dave out of the van when we were at the Quail and Levi, and we brought some other rinseless washes that were on the market. And we went and grabbed a bunch of water, got some buckets of water, and we washed a random car literally on the green. We asked this guy with, what was it? It was a Volkswagen.
It was a GTI.
It was a GTI.
Yeah.
I was going to say like a Golf or a GTI.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, can we wash your car? He's like, okay. And it was funny. We saw his car again this year.
Yep,
He's like
we did.
A car photographer.
Yep.
And he was like, yep, I'm just going to go take pictures and stuff. You guys can go ahead and wash my car. And we literally just forced Dave to stay there and listen to Levi and his perspective on a rinseless and how you want it and how I would see it. And from there, Dave did his magic and took all of our input and killed it. I mean, the first batch or prototype, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It had some little, it was doing some things that were a little odd that we had to figure out. But man, he killed it right off the bat, and then it got better and better with every test batch. And yeah, it was really, you know, that was kind of the beginning of all that. Was literally a year ago in Monterey, or over a year now. So
yeah, yep,
it was a lot of fun. And William, I had a lot of people ask me why I didn't just straight up tackle you, like lay you out flat. And I just didn't want to hurt myself. I wanted to hit you hard. I really did.
Right.
But I was like,
watching that video back, I was like, well, I'm glad that didn't get carried away. We landed on someone's car.
Yeah. I was hoping we were going to do it near like a sand trap or a bunker where I could have just laid him out into the side of the hill where it was a little softer to land.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to hurt myself anymore. You know, when I was young and dumb, but now I have to work and, you know, things hurt more. So,
yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who Facebook user is. That's somebody coming through one of our Facebook groups. That's why that happens. But he's got a great idea. Everybody wants to hit William. So I'm thinking maybe at Rennie's party in SEMA, we need a piñata.
Oh, that's
we're going to hang William by his ankles and
might be a good idea. We could see if we can knock some Cuban cigars and candy out of him.
So I pulled up that group. So it's Brian Crosby is the one that said that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, look, Juan's here. Good morning, Juan.
I mean, we usually talk about our details for the week, and we probably will, but they're going to involve Absolute now.
Right. Yes.
I've been using Absolute on everything for months.
Yeah.
And my guys are falling in love with it for so many different reasons. They're loving it for door jams. They're loving it for windows, dashboards. The rinseless is killing it. I have my neighbor's sprinklers hit the side of my truck the other day at like 11 o'clock at night. So I went out there and rinseless washed the side of my truck. And it's doing everything and more that we wanted. I know Sydney has tested it in a steamer. I haven't given it the steamer test yet.
Yeah.
But
love it in a steamer.
Yeah, it's going to do great, and it smells so good.
Yes.
Loving it.
So good. So good. And I got mine hooked up to my Chemtroll about a week and a half ago. And so, I mean, it's so funny, but you guys, to have it on tap is like so, so awesome.
Oh,
So awesome.
we're gonna have to do a spoof off the Rad Company's video where you
Yeah.
literally are like, you want some Absolute on tap, and
Yeah.
then you go over to your Chemtroll and push the button.
Yeah. Like I just like even filling up the bottles, you know, putting it in a measuring cup for my steamer. Cause I was, you know, after we did the release, you know, I was in my mind watching them walk through all these different ways of, you know, putting it in the bucket and then dunking their bottle and all the water coming out. And I was just like, wow, you know, because you have to mix it up before you can put it in the steamer. And so I just, the other day when I just pushed the button, filled up my measuring cup, poured it in my steamer, I was like, yes, that's so awesome. Because it literally just mixes it. You don't even have to like mix it in the bucket. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's doing that. It's mixing a little air with a bunch of water and just blending it right there and then and there. So I'm gonna have to adjust my Chemtroll and change the dilution tip and do that too, because we're, like I said, I can't wait till we have a label or something for spray bottles. Because right now I just have
we're working on
down, but that'd be so nice.
Yep. So nice. So here's so like we said, our details of last week are going to involve Absolute. And here's a funny one. Not funny. I just need validation from other people that they do this too. So for all you out there that do like TikTok and, you know, different videos. So, you know, some of the comments in the videos on YouTube, which cracks me up. First of all, can I just say, people are always like, use a dirty car, use a dirty car. Here's a fun fact. On camera, you can't really tell if these cars are dirty, right? I mean, in my shop, in the Rad Company, the lights are so bright and the cameras are just the way they are that you can't really tell when they're dirty. So that white Yukon Denali that we used in several of the videos was actually filthy. Now, we're not talking like off-road mud dirty, but it was dirty. I mean, it probably hadn't been washed in months. But anyway, so last night I was trying to make a TikTok with that Shelby GT500. So dirty, right? So I went and got it so dirty. So I filmed all the parts, you know, the pre where you could totally see the dust on it, pouring the Absolute in the bucket, like had the whole thing going on, the wash, the dry. And I forgot to record the ending. So that happens every single time. I always forget the last clip that holds it all together. So I might actually go call my, I might call my customer today and go, can I go to your garage and take a quick video of the car again? But anyways, because it was super dirty. So I was like, okay, I'll show him a super dirty car. But anyway, so that's what I was working on yesterday was, you know, just playing around with Absolute on a really dirty car. And it was perfect. So you know, it literally no streaking, no scratching. You know, this black is like a mirror. So you'd be able to see if, you know, one hair was out of place. So I might have to run over there today and get my last clip.
So I got to talk about the sponge, the black.
Yeah.
What's it, UBS? Is that what
the UBS. Yeah. Ultra black sponge. Yep.
So at first I never thought I would like a sponge. Okay. I was like, this is crazy. Sydney's nuts. The Rad Company has somehow brainwashed her into liking this thing. But then I got one and I started using it. And what I love about it now is, and you can visually see it in your video, or the video that TRC did, was as you're wiping and you squeeze, it's almost like you see a wave of water and solution, like totally rinsing it away. And I found that I really like and enjoy how that feels. I did it the other day with a microfiber, with our red and white microfiber wash mitt, and I loved it. But the UBS is pretty cool.
It is really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. And the cool thing about the UBS is I really feel like that was the first thing that was such the telltale sign that Absolute was so entirely different than anything else on the market. Was, you know, that sponge is pretty firm, right? And then you would put it in a solution of rinseless wash, any of them, and it would get a little bit softer. And that's what made the beauty of using it with a rinseless wash. But then the first time that sponge went into Absolute, it was like butter soft. You know, that was like the first, like, oh, this is a whole different experience. And so then you just realized, and that goes along with the slickness and the water softening effects and all. I mean, it's so soft. And so that was really cool for me, you know, because I've had it in tons of other kinds of rinseless. And I mean, right when it hit the Absolute, totally different. So that was awesome.
So in my Facebook, I was looking at vehicles that I've done a year ago. And me and my guys were talking on Saturday when we were doing this car. I have a customer with a beautiful restored 1940 Ford. It's bright orange. It is probably one of the best restorations I've ever seen. It could totally win awards everywhere it goes. It's so perfect. It was done by Hollywood Hot Rods, which is a famous hot rod shop. That is where I used the first test batch of Absolute. I was testing it against another product, and I bought one of those clear 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
And that was the first time, and that was a year ago. Dave got us samples, you know, within 3-4 weeks of Monterey, and that was pretty awesome. I was telling my guys, yeah, we did that like 1 year ago, and they're like, man, that seems like yesterday. And I said, yeah, it does, but no, it also doesn't. It seems like forever ago too. Yep. And that's when I also started using it on airplanes, classic cars and airplanes. And I was just loving how, some of you may have seen on the newsletter, I had that picture that I put up of me mopping the top of I think that was probably an Airbus, like an A320. So like a 737, not huge, but a big plane. Yeah. And I loved how when the dirt that was sitting on top of the fuselage, you could literally watch the dirt particles just come together and it just encapsulated it all. And that for me, when I started doing that, was like, okay, this is doing what I want. Now, it doesn't smell good yet. It was still no fragrance. The color was white. The product looked really, really milky, or really actually thick. But man, that was the sign that I knew we were headed in a good direction. So I got to give props to Dave. He did a great job, and it's definitely an improvement to many of the other products that I've tested in the past. It's different and better.
Very cool. Sense. Very cool. So just a side note, go check out the newsletter from next week or last week if you haven't. So we put out a newsletter every week. If you're not signed up for it, go to our website and get signed up for it. But we had an article from Dave on the creation of Absolute, which was a fantastic article. And then Kyle did his, like he talked about, on planes. So just a really good issue of the newsletter. And Jessica had just made a comment that she loved last week's newsletter. So thank you for that, Jessica. That newsletter is fun, and it's always good information. And yeah, Dave's article last week was really good.
Yes.
And all about Absolute lately. So
well, there's a bunch of comments already.
Yeah. Should we jump into some questions? I've seen a couple. This is a great question. So first question, how does Delaney like Absolute? Because she's the real wash master. She is. So she loves it. She absolutely loves it. And, during our transition period of, when we had other rinseless washes available through the Chemtroll, because that is one thing, she's very lazy. So I had to be in the Chemtroll. So she was using our old one. And then we would have the Absolute samples that we had to mix up by hand. And it was so funny because she would always look at me and go, can you make my bucket of water so that I can use Absolute? So that was a telltale sign that she did prefer to use the Absolute, because she does really like the Chemtroll. She thinks it's very cool, but she would always ask me to make her water so that she could have the Absolute. So yeah, she loves it. She's loved the process the whole time. She's totally been involved. Every test batch that we got, she used. And then she obviously, some of you heard the story and some haven't. When my scent pack arrived from Dave to choose the scents, I was at the Air Force One project and she was home alone. And so I immediately sent her a text and said, open them all and smell them all. So she was all about that. And, for weeks we both went back to them, and she chose the coconut lime also, which is fun. So yeah, she loves it. She loves it.
Oh, that girl. looks like she had a good time at homecoming too.
If she didn't like it, we would all hear about it. That's for sure.
Yes.
Right. Cool.
Oh,
all right. Up next, we've got in a steamer. That sounds interesting. Yes, Alex. So what it does is it just kind of kicks up that cleaning ability, right? So it does burn off the scent. So I have seen comments where people are like, oh, does it make the car smell good? And no, it doesn't, which is fine. You can kind of smell it, but no smell is left behind. So, but it kind of kicks up the ability of the cleaner or of the steamer. So I really love it in the steamer. It just, in some ways, I almost feel like it keeps my steamer from getting hard water deposits. We have very hard water here. And I've noticed since using it in my steamer, which I've been doing for probably a solid 6 months now, I haven't had to descale my steamer, which is pretty cool. So I do think that that's one benefit. And then second, it just really just kind of kicks it up. So here's a challenge that I want you guys to try that's actually super fun is one, engines. You can almost clean an engine. If it's really dirty, you're still going to need to use a degreaser. But if you're doing just general engine cleanup, works fantastic on cleaning engines. But then try to clean a wheel with it with no pre-wheel cleaner. It's like nuts. I mean, you can literally clean a wheel without, any pre anything. And, the steam. And that's where I noticed the big difference with Absolute is, cleaning door jambs or wheels prior with just regular steam. It worked, right? But now you're getting that slickness, that extra kick of cleaning ability. The encapsulation probably helps to remove it from the surface versus spread it around. So if you think about spraying it in a dirty door jamb that is, say, muddy or something, you end up just spreading it around, right? But because the Absolute's in there, it almost kind of encapsulates it and makes it wipe away much easier. So, definitely shortens the time on that process. And, for me, it's keeping my steamer running great. So yeah, love it in the steamer. So you are going to use it at the standard dilution of 256:1. Don't try to mix it any heavier than that.
Yeah, you're the master on the steamers with it. I just haven't had the opportunity to try it in the steamer yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try this week. The other thing is my steamer is a little different than yours. So mine actually has a external tank and then it pumps in. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna use it on my my VX because I can put it directly in, and we'll give it a try. Mm-hmm. But as far as door jams go, whether you're using a steamer or just using I was using a 32-ounce bottle. Yep. I sprayed it in. I used a brush. I sprayed it again and wiped. Yeah. I love the cleaning ability. Where before, if I was to use EnviroClean, then you're going to leave, residue behind. Yeah. But this was like cleaning and degreasing, but no residue, which was great. And William, I'm glad you take a shower sometimes. I was worried about that.
That's funny. All right. Question is, what's the biggest difference between Epic and Absolute? Because Epic is also rinseless, even if it's a waterless. So technically Epic, if you were to use that as a rinseless though, the dilution is I think it's 4 ounces to a gallon. It's pretty high. So you would go through a lot of product. The other difference is for me, I feel like Epic, since it wasn't necessarily formulated to do that, you could absolutely do that in a pinch, just like you can in a pinch with Pearl. But it's not going to encapsulate the dirt and move it across the surface in the same manner that Absolute does. So Epic is a really, really great waterless. It does have a little bit of protection in it. And so for me, that kind of, it reacts a little bit weird with the water, depending where you are, and it's going to not dry quite as nice and stuff. So you absolutely could use it, but on a day-to-day basis, car after car, it's not quite as user friendly. So it's not going to dry, and it is going to leave behind a little bit more protection on the surface. And Kyle, you can tell me, am I wrong here? Doesn't Epic have a tiny bit of carnauba in it or something as protection?
I'm not sure. I know Dave did say there's a little bit of wax in there, but
some sort of wax in there, just, for that shine and protection. A lot of waterless washes have that. And so it's not the perfect rinseless. You know, it can definitely work in a pinch, but Absolute and Epic are completely different. Now, Epic, I still really like that in door jams and things like that. And Epic's a great one to keep in your car for on the go to clean up, you know, bird droppings, bugs, things like that. It's really, really great. But for me, like, especially we used at Monterey. So the best way I can say this is at Monterey, you know, we were dealing with cars that we had already cleaned several times. They had been sitting out in the sun. It was very hot. Those panels were probably 130, 140 degrees, I would guess, on some of them, depending on the color. And when we were trying to clean them in the direct sunlight, the Epic was not working great, as do
it was kind of a little bit of grabby.
Yeah, you tend to streak. It's a very thick product, so it tended to streak. And so with the Absolute mixed up as a waterless, it just was thinner, and it didn't have those extra ingredients in it for protection, that it made it easier to remove from the surface, and it just left a better result. So I think you really have to pick the product for the situation. Epic's a great one if you are going to a car show and your car's clean, you have to drive there and you want to kind of, you know, quickly clean it up, but leave that nice glow on it. Epic's great. Like, I'll still use Epic a lot. Epic's also, for me, I really like Epic as a pre-spray to the rinseless. So you could absolutely use Absolute, but I like Epic for when the car comes in and it's salt, like has the salt on it, or a lot of really heavy dirt or grime on that lower third. I'll use the Epic because it sticks longer, because it is thick. So it starts that emulsification process. It does a really good job. So there is a lot of difference. And Epic is just not maybe as concentrated as the Absolute, where you're doing this, you know, a half ounce to a gallon, and Epic is like 4 ounces to a gallon. So totally different product use.
Yeah, Epic. I've enjoyed using Epic, but one of the reasons why we wanted Absolute is we needed a true rinseless.
Yeah.
And Epic just isn't a true rinseless. It's meant to be used as is. And it's kind of like when we were trying to use Pearl or Epic as a rinseless, we were trying to do something with two products that they weren't made for.
Right.
And we weren't getting the results. I tried to use Pearl to do rinseless on airplanes. And it was this, even with a very tiny amount of Pearl, it was sudsing too much, which I can't, allow soapy water to get on the ground.
Yeah.
And it was drying on the surface way too fast.
Yeah.
A rinseless should allow the surface to stay wet long enough, for you to take your microfiber towel, or in my case, I use a one of those giant 24-inch water blades on a pole to squeegee the side of a plane. And so if it dries too fast, it won't work. So Pearl wasn't working in the sun for me, but and Epic wasn't either. So Absolute works great in the sun. And I'm talking white airplane, 110 degrees.
Yeah.
In a scissor lift in the sun. Yeah. And it works. And it stays wet, for that 20, 30 seconds that you need to do the area, and then squeegee or dry. So and
then in the event that it is really hot and the Absolute solution dries on the surface, you literally just re-wet it and it wipes right off. So it doesn't leave any water spotting, no streaking. It's super easily reactivated, where some of the other ones are not, and you can kind of keep fighting that streaking process. So, Absolute's just the newest technology and really, really versatile. And it was specifically built for rinseless.
Is that Rennie or Chris talking with William? Because that's pretty funny conversation happening.
That's me.
Oh, I don't know if I'd want to scratch or sniff anything from William Lara.
Yeah.
Just a sticker.
What would be his scent, Chris?
He offered what do you call it?
Cigar?
Iron Buster.
He wants to be on the label of Iron Buster because of the smell. Yeah. Perfect.
Wow.
So he doesn't shower on Wednesdays. So today's probably a good day to be on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Let's see here.
Knucklehead.
Got another one. Here's a good one. Bob wants you to answer.
Yeah, I saw that one. So it is the teal tip, which is so fitting because teal's my favorite color. So I was glad that was the one that we ended up on. So in the Chemtroll, for those who don't know, you have two sides. One is a bottle fill, one's a bucket fill. And I don't know the scientific term on this, but the flow rate of which the water comes out is totally different.
Gallons per minute.
Yes, gallons per minute. So you obviously want it on the bucket fill side, which is most obvious, right? So that's the only one we know. We didn't test the bottle fill. So I have it on the bucket fill side. It is the teal tip. And we, broke it down. Keith and I did this. We broke it down to, we used a beaker with the Absolute in it, and we then had a bucket with measuring sticks. So we got it completely dialed in. So we know 100% for a fact it's the teal tip, and it does it exactly at 256:1. So the beauty in this is that you can, do that. And then should you need to bump it up to 128:1, then you would just, mix your gallon. Say you take a gallon of it, add another capful, and there you go. So super easy. So I would keep it at 256:1 since that's the way we're going to use it the majority of the time. So teal tip works great, comes out perfect. Love it. And I love the Chemtroll. I feel like it doesn't get enough screen time.
Thanks for joining us, Juan. We appreciate it.
Love the Chemtroll.
Have fun at work today.
Yeah, have fun. Hopefully it's cooled down up there too. He's up in the middle of Idaho.
Maybe you could answer his question real fast.
Oh, what is
he
it?
has a question.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
So question, when you put it in the steamer, does it give you the bad smell? No. In mine, it doesn't. So I saw this question somewhere else, so I'll just answer both of them. Is what steamer do you use? So I'm using the Macola 1375. I don't get a bad smell at all. So with others I get kind of that burnt, crispy smell. I don't get that out of Absolute. It just almost smells, you can smell something, but it's not bad. So you don't smell the coconut lime. It almost smells, I can't even think of a way to describe it, but it's definitely not bad at all. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because for years when I would use other rinseless, you would get that kind of burnt, crispy smell, and it does not smell like that at all. So it's more of a warm but not burning smell. And I think it actually smells good, and it doesn't leave any smell behind, but I think it smells good. So it's just kind of I don't know, like it just makes me think warm. I don't know, but not burning. So yeah.
Cool. I wouldn't know yet. I'll find out this week.
It's friendly in the steamer. That's what I'll say. Smell friendly. Cool. Do we have any more? We have, so funny. It's really funny to me that, there's like themes every week. Like there's products that people focus on. So today I see a lot of comments about Iron Buster.
Here's a controversial one.
Yeah. And then obviously that.
No, it's not that controversial.
Yeah. So here's the deal. So obviously ONR, and I'll just give my personal opinion here. So ONR was the best on the market, right? I still love ONR. I still think it's a fantastic product. I saw a lot on the Rag Company YouTube, Dane, what a hero. He was answering this question 9 million times over, and people were, upset about the ONR situation. But here's the deal. Here's the facts. Like, it's not an ONR copy. It was not meant to take shots at any other product. ONR to me was a fantastic product. You guys know that. That's what I've used for 9.5 years. I've tried others. I always went back to ONR. ONR is a fantastic product. So when we were going through the development of Absolute, ONR was, the benchmark, right? But then there was these other ones that would have properties and results that we were like, we wish this was all in one, right? We wanted all the boxes checked. And so that's kind of where we came up with Absolute, was let's check all the boxes in one product. Now, Absolute is completely a different product. Like the ingredients could not be more different. So does it have the same duties as ONR? Yes, but there's a couple other ones. It has a lot different results, and it's for us, and you'll notice this theme with us at PNS, a lot of it is about the experience of using the products, right? We, for me, I look at it that I'm working really hard out in my shop, but there's certain things that I want to be an experience that makes me enjoy what I do, makes me enjoy the results, and allows my customers to really enjoy the results, right? So, just specifically Dream Maker, Legend, the clay towel, there's these things that we have this experience with that show on the surface. And that was what Absolute was for us. We wanted something that the customers noticed a difference. And so ONR is still a fantastic rinseless wash. It really is. And for forever, it was, the staple. And if you love ONR and want to keep using it, keep using it. We just wanted to, we had a lot, and I'm talking a lot of people constantly, please will PNS come out with a rinseless wash. I myself just, like for selfish reasons, this was something I was very interested in because that's all I do is rinseless wash. So it's totally my thing. And so this was something that I wanted to be involved in this project, kind of like a challenge, like how great of a product can Dave make? And it's really great. And so I just encourage everybody to try it. It's really great, but it by no means is, going to kill ONR. I mean, ONR is always going to be a great product. It's not like, and people ask me, are you going to throw yours away? No, I'm not going to throw my gallon away. So yeah, Absolute's great. It does not compare chemically to ONR, but the duties are going to compare, but then the end result is going to be different.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I've loved ONR for a long time. I mean, I don't know how much some people use of ONR, but I'll tell you, last year alone, I went through 5 or 6 gallons.
Yeah, same.
Doing all these planes that I had lined up. Mm-hmm. And, to be selfish, part of my drive towards pushing PNS to come out with a rinseless is I wanted to use a PNS product.
Right. Yeah.
That was part of my drive. I was like, well, love this stuff. Let's make something that's, just as good or better.
Yeah.
And where it went was not expected. I did think that we were going to have something that was going to check those boxes, but it'd be similar. But the end result was the surprising, surprising factor there that we felt how smooth and slick and gloss without protection. And I didn't think that was achievable. And believe me, when we talk about other brands we tested, that is definitely one of the top, if not the top brand we tested against it, among others on the market, which are all great. Now your freaking kitty cat.
Yeah.
He's out there putting on a show. Hi, Bristol. So yeah, not comparing it. Test it yourself. That's why we made sure it came out in a quart. So it's, it's crazy affordable for how awesome the product it really is.
Yeah. And one other thing that I want to mention that it's kind of funny because this actually was not one of the check boxes, but maybe should have been, but it got checked anyway, was the synergy between products, right? So I get annoyed when I hear that, to be honest. Sometimes that drives me crazy when I hear the word synergy, but it is a real thing, right? So for years, PNS would get complaints about using Bead Maker with ONR. I personally never had a challenge. So I always thought everybody was crazy. However, we got the complaint on the daily that they felt like it dusted more when they would use ONR and then use Bead Maker. It came up a lot. And honestly, this was not one of the check boxes. However, Bead Maker with Absolute, like pure magic, right? Pure magic works so great with it. I never really felt like I fought with Bead Maker, but I will say that it is seamless on top of Absolute. Because I do the Bead Maker clay method. there is a difference. There really is. It is seamless. Also, Dreammaker on top of Absolute is amazing. I just noticed that everything, works well together. And I think this does go back a lot to that it's the same person that made these products, right? So there is a certain style of chemistry, a certain style of, how you make things, all of that. And so I do notice like some truth to that synergy word in Absolute. So that was not one of the check boxes, but it is a box that has been checked. So
yes, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, it just kind of worked out, and I've heard people say that even as of recently. Yeah. Last Saturday, I was down at an event in Huntington Beach. Mm-hmm. Last week, and I went and visited a friend's shop, and that person was telling me the complaints that they were having with other rinseless washes. Mm-hmm. And was feeling as if there was a film buildup over time, mm-hmm. because that's all this person used on a vehicle. And so I made sure that I left some. She'll have that our rinseless soon, and we'll tell the difference. But that's a very important thing. So this is a great question because it gets us away from Absolute and.
Well, for a second, there's more Absolute questions.
Yeah, it steers
for a
back.
minute. But great question.
So best option for interior protection for the fall season.
For me, if you're going to protect the interior, clean and protect the leather or condition the leather, moisturize and nourish that leather if you have it. If it's fabric, use the Inspiration fabric protectant. And I really like using Bead Maker on dashboards and door panels. It's kind of I don't like shiny stuff. I think I've dressed the interior of my truck one time in 3 years with natural finish. I loved how it looked. It absorbed in, and I'm happy with the results. But I just don't. I guess when I take my truck out in the dirt, this time of year, it's going to go out to the sand dunes. So, but customers, I like wiping their interiors down with Bead Maker, the dashboard and all that. So that's what I would do. What do you?
And I'm kind of the opposite. I dress every single car except my own. And my own is just probably because I never get to it. But so two things, what I noticed. The reason I don't use dressing on my own vehicles is because we literally clean them once a month with Express. And I've never felt like we've needed interior dressing. So if they stay really clean and you're keeping those body oils, all of that, I'm getting there, Anthony. If you're keeping those body oils and things off of the plastics with Express, I just never find that I need my plastics hydrated. But every single customer's car gets dressing. So for me, so I use natural finish most of the time. I'm a huge natural finish fan because I don't like the shine either. And it's not sticky. It doesn't attract dust. So I really like the natural finish. That's primarily what I use. Now, if the leather is brand new, or if it's really old and dried out. For maintenance, I use natural finish, but if I have a brand new one come in, I use the double black leather treatment. And if it's really old and needs like a major kick in the pants with hydration, I use the leather treatment. And then I'll use the natural finish in between. So, I think my customers' cars, I see them a lot, right? It's not very often that, I probably only see 2 to 3 cars that are new to me per month. So the first time they come in, they're getting leather treatment, but since they come back so often, they really don't need that major hydration of the leather treatment. So I tend to maintain them with natural finish. But brand new, I'll use the leather treatment just to give them a really good, foundation and start, because the leather treatment really does stay deep down in that leather for quite a while. And so I'll use that on new. And then when they really need to be re-energized, I love the leather treatment. And to be honest, the only reason I don't use the leather treatment every single time is just because it takes longer. but it's a fantastic product. I love the leather treatment. It's just, it takes longer. You know, if I'm just doing a maintenance detail, it takes longer. So I like natural finish, but you know, I live in Idaho and I live in the desert. And so everybody's cars come in absolutely dry. But you know, mine, I wipe mine down once a month, but my customers don't get that. So that's why I use protection, just so that they stay looking nicer for longer.
All right, back to the absolute questions. Here they keep rolling.
Can we foam absolute? Asking for a friend. So I was going to ask Jamie to do it, but I see that he's in the comments. So it's not going to foam, but there's no reason why you can't put it in a foam cannon and shoot it at a car. I don't know what's going to happen. It's probably just going to be like a massive pre-spray.
I'm testing it today.
Yeah,
I'm going to test it out.
You know, so absolutely put it in a foam cannon. It's not going to foam, but it'll shoot massive absolute at the surface.
I think it's going to kind of come out like I feel it'll be very light milkiness. You know, it's going to make the water look kind of cloudy. And maybe some really fine micro fine suds, but they won't last. Like they'll probably hit the surface and disappear.
Right. So you are going to have to think about though the dilution on that. Because it's going, what you're not going to want to do is you're not going to want to dilute the absolute too much in the foam cannon, because then it's going to come out so light once it dilutes with the water.
I was thinking I was going to dilute like, I was probably going to put like 4 ounces in my foam cannon. Yeah. And then fill the foamer up to the neck, not to the top.
Right.
And see how that goes. I have an RV that we're doing today, and I'll go in it. I'll try and like pre-treat it with that, and I'll see what it looks like. I do know one thing I really love about Absolute. When you put it in the bucket and you stir it up, sometimes on the top you get some very, very light bubbles, like they're super tiny, and then they go away. I really do like that because it shows the lubricity, it shows the lifting that's going to have on the surface, but it's not soapy. It just kind of, we're just creating, you know, there's enough product in the water that it's encapsulating it and causing a bubble, but not enough that it's like sudsing out. So we will test it today. I will clean a foam cannon out and make sure there's no soap in it, and we'll give it a try.
I can see where, in that case, doing an RV, that's going to be really beneficial, because you're going to be able to start that pre-soak up top, and it's not going to matter if it dries, right? It's going to stay wetter longer, and it's going to give you time to get up there with your wash media to wash it. And
stay tuned for my TikTok.
Yeah, I can see that that's going to work out really well. I think one thing that I would do is, because it's probably a light colored RV, right? I'm assuming is
it's red and gold.
Yeah, that you should be able to spray it and then really look up on it, because with Absolute, you can see the dirt inside those water beads, right? You can see it encapsulating the dirt, literally visually see it. So I would check for that and make sure that it is doing that. And if you see that major encapsulation, then you know that the dilution's good. You just want to make sure that you have enough, you know, so that it's, I mean, not that it would matter if it was just water. So Jamie, try that out, and you and Kyle try it out today. Jamie said the Absolute cannon incoming. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Car and RV.
I'm actually texting my
employee
fun. Who's outside getting the van ready right now, saying, find me one of the new foamers. We're testing Absolute today.
Yep. So Handy Danny says Absolute with well water. So we tested Absolute with water from all over the country, to be honest. I'm sure in some points somebody had well water. I don't remember that specifically coming up, but it should work just fine. So what we found with, you know, even distilled water, with hard water, soft water, water softeners, it really just kind of made it essentially the same, you know, consistency. So it should work absolutely fine. I believe it, you know, well water should be better than like my tap water, right?
Yeah.
And it works awesome with my tap water. So I would think you should be great. Yeah.
You know what I was going to say? The reason why PNS has been so successful in all these products, there must be something in the water in Hayward. You know, Bob and Dave say they have such great water there.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of the magic, because I don't know how all this would be working out so well. It really does make a difference, the water we use in our products.
Yep. Good morning, Keith. Keith is up and in the chat.
We ran out of questions.
Uh-oh.
It's all right.
Kyle,
We got 10
Kyle,
minutes left.
No, I
Kyle,
see
I
no
think
questions.
Real quick, Kyle, I think you tested PNS, not your guys.
I tested PNS.
You texted the group, not.
Oh, that's funny.
That is funny.
You're right. It's because he's right next to that text. He was texting me earlier.
That's all right.
Means I can actually text and fix my spelling. All right.
I saw another one though from Gabriel. Sorry, I have like 9 million texts.
So Tony,
how many secrets do you have in your garage?
How many more secrets do you have in the garage? Right now, none.
Yeah.
Which is
kind of
good.
Ran through all of our good ideas.
Right. So no secrets per se, Gabriel. I've got some stuff that, we'll work on, giving new life to products that we already have, but no ground up secrets left. We have released them all. We had the Scrub Ninja, the Sidekick, the clay reset towel, the Absolute. We had the off-road line. So this year's been kind of crazy. So I think we're going to breathe for a couple months, to be honest. We'll work on some products that we already have, but no major secrets right now. No.
We'll see what happens at SEMA.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'll tell you the truth, because we do test stuff. So I do actually have one test product in my shop right now that is kind of, we didn't find a place for it. So that one will probably not ever turn into anything. And it was something that, I think Dave was just playing with and we were seeing if there would be a space for it, and we didn't really find a space for it. So, we're totally honest about that. We definitely don't put out everything that comes across us, and
we should ask this question to Keith. Will the UBS sponge be available through PNS?
I feel like that's in the works. That's what
I thought too.
Yeah. I feel like, Keith, if you're still here, let us know. But I feel like I heard that they're on their way.
Yeah, I think so.
I know we're doing a whole bunch more towels, and I believe the UBS is part of that. So
time to go back to the basement, Jamie.
Yeah.
Just said.
Yeah. So Jamie, I will go back into the basement, but for those who don't know, the next, 8 weeks is kind of the SEMA push, and PNS has not been to SEMA for 3 years. So we have a lot to do to get ready to go to SEMA. It's going to be so different. And so I think the next 8 weeks, we are all about SEMA. So then maybe this winter, we'll see what I can find in the basement. So Keith says, yes, plus offering of TRC towels will expand in the future. So yes, I'm not sure when they'll be there, but they're on their way. I know that
I'm excited for us to carry the Jersey Bug Scrubber.
Yeah.
When I saw that we were going to bring that on, I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
That UBS. Everything else is great, but those are my favorites. Favorite. All right. So I think Candy Danny had
hand wax carnauba or bead maker for exterior when looking for longer protection. So for sure, bead maker. So hand wax carnauba is a very short term. Carnauba has a melting point. It's, waxes are very short term, and the other thing about waxes that's difficult is on one car, it could wear off in 2 days. And on another, it could wear off in 2 months. So we really don't know that point of when that protection is gone. So for my first probably 3-4 years in business, I was just using a wax. And, that was my challenge, was I was sending every car out with wax, and some it would protect them for days, and some it would protect weeks, and some it would protect months. But I really couldn't tell people when they would ask, how long of protection is this offering me? I really couldn't answer that question, because you could go through one car wash and it wears off. It could be a hot day and it could melt off. So definitely bead maker, because bead maker is a true paint sealant that it truly bonds with the paint, whereas wax just kind of floats on top. Single stage classic car paint gloss enhancer other than Dream Maker and paint gloss.
That's what I would use for an enhancer, would be Dream Maker. Especially on the single stage, it's going to work really well. But it really depends on the condition of the single stage paint. If it's like original single stage paint and it's been polished and the surface is really nice, or is it old and kind of dry? Is it new? But I think Dream Maker is going to be your go-to for an enhancement there, other than just polishing.
Yeah. And if you're looking for something to use on that where there's no polishing involved, per se, paint correction, if you're wanting something that, years ago, people used hand waxes to get that really warm glow. So a couple products that you could use that might get you what you want is obviously our Kyle's Boat and RV and Ultra Coat Polish, or UCP 1987, are both going to be great on single stage. They're going to create a lot of gloss. It might not just be it's just going to be a different gloss than Bead Maker and Dream Maker offer. The other thing that is rarely talked about that might be a really nice option for you would be our paint sealant. So the matte paint sealant, it's called the matte paint sealant. You can absolutely use it on, shiny paint as well. But that is one that it's a really unique product. So you wash the car and you dry it, right? Do you dry it or do you put it on wet?
I've done it wet.
I feel like you put it on wet. So it comes in like a bottle this size with a flip top, and you apply it with a sponge. So you wash the car, and then with a sponge, you kind of spread this paint sealant on top, and then you rinse it off and dry. And it does give it, it's a paint sealant, but it does make it really glossy, and it lasts quite a while. If I remember right, that was one of the products as far as a paint sealant that has a pretty good longevity. It's a really unique product to use, and you feel everything wrong while you're doing it. It's so weird to use, but it's fantastic. Yeah. It's great.
I'm kind of thinking now, I've never used it on anything but a matte vehicle, and I've only done a few with it, so I probably should try it on some other vehicles.
I've done it on a shiny car, or a regular glossy car, and it totally works. Yeah, totally works.
So, Anthony Brown Jr., I saw your video with your pad washing station.
Yeah,
I think you have something there that Carter's Car Care should be selling. It was a really nice setup, and I love that you were using rags to riches with it. It's great. Yeah. I don't know if Bob and Dave are going to want to get into making that large of an accessory. It's pretty big, which means it's going to be a lot to ship.
It's kind of like buckets, right? It would be a hard thing to ship. Yeah.
And 5 gallons. And
just
we're shipping it on a pallet.
Maybe, Anthony, you could figure out how to make it a kit that could assemble.
Oh yeah, in a box.
That if it's like tubing and stuff, maybe there's some way that it could be assembled.
What else we have?
Real quick, guys. So I don't know what the problem is with everything. Nothing in this world seems to work as advertised anymore. But the questions from the YouTube channel are not showing up for me. So we've got some over there.
Oh, I see them.
Not from our YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
The ones we're seeing are from Rennie's. We're not getting it from both.
Okay. Do we need to go? Do you need me to go look, and maybe I'll bring some of them up?
I'm looking.
Sure.
This is
says I'll have to replicate that pad washer for AFO as a test. That would be nice.
I don't know where you're gonna do it though.
Maybe out behind the fence.
I don't know. You don't want the metal pads.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. It's that metal pad cleanup.
You'd almost have to have like a tent or something. Yeah, that might be
a mess.
It's interesting. They showed up for a while, then they stopped partway through.
Are we still live on our channel?
We've had a ton of.
Yeah, I've got it up in front of me right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, weird. Okay. Let's see. I can see them. Let me just run through really quick.
Odd.
Tony Mazel is here. There's one gentleman, I do want to bring this up. There's a gentleman that said, I tried Absolute for the first time yesterday, and it's easily the slickest rinseless I've tried. It does exactly what I'd want a rinseless to do, and my wife loved the scent. The hype seems well deserved. That is from Tug R.
Awesome.
Thank you. That's awesome. I have seen, that's a good time to bring this up. So on the Rag Company, when we did the release, they got a lot of pushback. We didn't get a lot of pushback on our channel, but they did. And it's funny to see now that a lot of those guys that really gave them a hard time those first couple days are now changing their tune because they did end up ordering it. And guys, here's the thing. This is not an expensive product. Like, it's worth trying, right? I don't know how much a quart is, but it's not very expensive. And so it's worth trying. And if, for me, I think it's what's the harm in it, right? And it's really good stuff. So I do love seeing that so many people have tried it and have now changed their tune. So this is funny. Jamie says, good morning, Beads and Beans team. I like that. That's catchy.
Beads and Beans.
Beads and Beans.
So here's a question from YouTube. Would you say pre-spray is always mandatory with this wash? And I'm going to jump in and say I don't use it that way. I just start washing.
I don't use it that way either.
Only if it's really excessive.
I don't. Yeah. And this is another one where there's some certain groups out there that get really fired up about this kind of stuff. And I'm just going to be blatantly honest, you guys. I've been doing rinseless wash for 9.5 years. I don't scratch cars. I rarely do a pre-spray. This product is fantastic. On that Mustang last night, I did not do a pre-spray and it was really dirty. The only time I do a pre-spray is generally in the winter when I have the massive, coating of salt or snow dirt or whatever on the lower panels. And sometimes I'll still use a pressure washer. That's totally fine. Rinseless in itself is really meaning the post rinse, right? And you don't have a bunch of soap to get off. So I will do a pre-spray on a very dirty car, but 99% of the time I'm not doing a pre-spray. So, and I do really dirty cars, and I've honestly never scratched them. So there is some people that will say you have to do a pre-spray every time and knock yourself out if you want to do that, but I rarely do it.
Well, we have a couple final comments on here.
Oh, Stephen has a good question on YouTube too.
Okay.
Can I bring this one up? Because this is actually one that I face a lot too.
Yeah, let's do that.
He said, I'm sorry I jumped on late. Is Absolute good to use as a rinse after brake buster? So I still do my wheels kind of normal, meaning with the pressure washer, but probably 50% of the time, especially on maintenance washes, like on my own car, I'll do the brake buster, even iron buster, and then I will use my bucket of Absolute, and I will use it to basically rinse the wheels. I mean, I go to scrub them and I'm basically at the same time like rinsing it. I just use a lot of it. I don't shake my brush off. I'm slopping it on there and it does rinse it off. And I don't have any trouble with it. I've done that. I did that for years where I didn't even use a pressure washer. So now because my pressure washer is so handy, I do usually use my pressure washer on the wheels, but you can absolutely rinse it away with the Absolute. And even if you wanted to put it like in the large IK sprayer or even the small one, you could totally rinse it and then wipe it away. But yeah, I use it all the time as a rinse for the wheels, Stephen. It works great. Then somebody asks future events at PNS. Right now, we just have our normal trainings until SEMA. So he was asking in Hayward any meet and greets, and we don't have any at this time. And I think that's kind of all we missed here on YouTube.
Yeah, it's interesting because they started showing up again. So it's
yeah, some of them just popped up on here.
I don't know why.
Here's a great question about undressed, and then that's the last one.
Real fast, I did put one up on the screen that just tied into.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We'll do the super dirty, muddy one.
Oh, and now I see the undressed one. Okay, so super dirty, muddy. Kyle, have you used it on muddy?
If the car is dirty and muddy, would you still use absolute? Yes, I would, but I would probably do what Sydney said and pre-rinse.
Yeah.
Knock that mud off. Maybe that's kind of that situation.
Mud for sure.
And I would use probably more than one bucket because you're going to have, even though you've rinsed the mud off, you're going to have that cling. So do the top, 2/3, and then that bottom third, just have a different mitt for it, and do it last. Be real easy.
Yeah, try to get that mud off first, for sure. I mean, if cars have mud on them, I always use the pressure washer and, either mud buster or, something like that. I'll pre-spray and get that mud off first, because mud and trying to wash you're just going to smear it.
Or tell your customer to go rinse off have their vehicle washed first before you do a detail.
All right. So last question. Curious about undressed and how often I should actually be using it compared to brake buster on my well-maintained car.
For me, I use it as needed. Most RVs that we clean, I use undressed every time because they get brown, the tire dressing looks bad, or the customer has put their own dressing on to keep them shiny while they're on the road or traveling. But for everyday usage on vehicles, if I'm seeing them for maintenance, I usually use brake buster. But like I have a really great customer that I do some really beautiful high-end cars for. But she has someone that washes her cars. I just do the detailing. And that guy uses the cheapest snot silicone dressing ever. And so I have to undress the tires and scrub and pressure wash and drill brush the tires every time because it's built up like this layer. So hers brake buster won't work. I wish her guy washing would use brake buster to clean her tires every time, but I really think he just dresses the tires. That's all I think he does. So yes, Anthony, for sure.
And same. If the car is the first time it's been to me, I always start with undressed. If we're switching, the tire dressing, then I'll use it. And the same thing, if they're getting tire shine at the car wash or from somewhere else, I always reset the tire. So it's just if the tire needs reset. On my own vehicles, I have, obviously my vehicles end up test beds for things, right? So mainly the one that I use it on the most is my daughter's, because I switched tire dressing on her car. And then on my husband's car and my car, I'm trying to stick with the same dressing. So on mine, I'm using dressed, and his is wipe and shine. And so I have not needed to use it on either one of our cars in probably, 4 or 5 months. But my daughter's car I use undressed a lot because I go back and forth between different dressings. And then customers' cars. I have a lot of customers' cars that we maintain here, and I don't usually ever have to use it, except for every couple months. Brake buster does a fantastic job. So I just use it if I'm switching dressings, really.
Yeah, so you're just going to have to figure it out. What you may have to do is do one vehicle, if you're trying not to use undressed and save it, do the tire, look at it. If it still looks bad, then go ahead and undress it. If you're questioning if you should be using undressed, if it looks like, then use it.
Yeah.
My van, my truck, my wife's car, I just use brake buster. I don't dress my tires on my vehicles often. One reason for my van and truck, they go out in the dirt. I have customers that live on dirt roads. And so because I'm in the desert in California, if I go up to the high desert, I'm usually in dirt. But my wife's vehicle gets probably dressed more often, once a month. And I just use brake buster. Yes, Kyle's snot dressing. I have a hate for the cheap car wash It's like snot glue, silicone. Yeah, it doesn't come off very easy.
That's
Actually,
so funny.
I told Sydney one day when I was working on that customer's, she has a Tundra. I was sitting there with our tar and sap remover and a microfiber towel and a toothbrush, and I was cleaning the tread because she has like mudders.
Yeah.
Because even undressed and a drill brush just wasn't. It was like glue. The stuff wasn't coming off. So after that, and then undressed again and power washing again, the tires were completely bare, and I told her to stop letting him dress the tires with whatever garbage he had. I actually gave her some dressing and said this is what he needs to use. So, yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was great. Great bead maker and coffee, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris,
guys.
so much. And we hit over 100 questions today. That was awesome.
Yep. So coming up, obviously, on our social media, make sure you follow us on all the good stuff, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, as you'll kind of be able to keep up with what we're doing. We're going to be doing a lot of SEMA prep, as I mentioned. We've still got a couple trainings in Hayward this year. If you're looking into that, we'll make sure we get those dates up.
I'll be in Arizona this coming weekend at the Prescott Outdoor Show with our distributor there, promoting the off-road line. So if you're out in Prescott area, stop by, say hello. Me and Keith will be there with PC Enterprises. And then on the 20th, I'll be at the 3D in Fontana doing a ceramic coating demo for the Inspiration line. And then Rennie and I are together, I believe, in October. You have to look up the dates. We're planning an event down at detailing.com. So for mid-October.
Yeah. And then Rennie, Chris, you're going to have to help me on this. Rennie and Keith are going to.
Oh, yeah.
Just space the name of that event. What is it? Next weekend? Or in 2 weeks?
Detailing.com thing is on the 13th, Thursday, and
of October.
And it's a Go Fast Solutions Summit.
Go Fast Solutions, yeah.
I think that's in Massachusetts.
Yes.
If I remember right. Anyway, on the 21st of September.
Yes. So in a couple weeks, Keith and Rennie will be back there at the Go Fast. And then on the 24th, I will be, the polishing school has a car show in Sacramento, and I will be there with them that day. So if you are in California, anywhere near Sacramento, come check out that car show. And I've heard it's big and great and awesome. So I'm looking forward to going. Keith says the winter summit at Go Fast. So yes, so all of us are kind of dispersing around over the next couple of weeks. So keep up with that. And please let us know how you feel about Absolute. Feel free to shoot us a DM on any of our social media. Let us know what you think. We are so excited that people are starting to get it in their hands, and we just can't wait for everybody to love it as much as we do.
Yep.
Cool.
All set.
All right, guys. Well, everybody have a great week. Hope it's cooler where you are, and we are looking forward to fall.
All right.
See you guys later.